our New Jack Swing podcast. Myself and Sheldon. Stevie is coming through shortly. Sheldon, I hadn't seen you in a while. How's it been?
Everything's been well. It's good to see you.
Yes, yes. I'm trying to see if we can this can connect to in Instagram, but it doesn't seem to be. Um, Let me see. No, I'm going to stop this now and video because nope. Yeah, discard. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So okay. I wonder. Yeah. So yes, as I see, will join us shortly. But yeah, well, today we're going to go through our Jodeci stuff. But before then, anything music-wise? Okay. Actually, for those who, as you guys are joining in, Sheldon and I had the honor of being able to interview Miss Joyce Irby Fenderella yesterday. How did you find that interview?
It was great. It was really great. I really enjoyed it. Good talking to somebody from a previous era and just really just sharing her story, listening to her backstory, her perspectives of what she had to do to navigate the music industry. I think for our community, it's something that you definitely want to go ahead and check out. We hear a lot of stories about females being marginalized in this industry, and there's been a lot of sad outcomes. In this particular situation with Miss Irby, we see a more triumphant outcome
Mhm.
for her to just really be ahead of the curve on the independent side, and not only just surviving but actually thriving. So, very good
Yeah.
interview.
So that will come. Oh, Stevie, welcome. Okay, as we welcome, want to welcome, want to welcome everyone that just joined us. So Akin, welcome. Oscar Flavor, and Mac, Miss Savagnon, welcome. Tanya, TN 7007. Oh goodness, TN 07. Amazing, Tony. Always appreciate having you around. Derek, welcome from the Twin Cities. Let me see. Letitia, welcome. Mr. David Yarden, welcome as well. And also Mr. Stevie Street, welcome.
Good evening,
We
chap.
were you watching the finishing up the British Got Talent finals or something? Well,
Not quite. I think I tried to log on, and then my computer. I think my computer just crashed, so I had to restart. So I'm slightly late. What have I missed anyway?
well, Sheldon will just because we both interviewed Miss Joyce Irby last night.
Oh, fantastic!
Didn't finish until about 12 mid 30. Hello, Joseph. 12:30 at night, and she had to then finish us and go straight to another live interview. But
Wow.
yes, I'm. Sheldon, he's read her book. He's into, so he was like, "Yep." So, in
Wow.
chapter 8 of your book, she was like, "Whoa, okay, you know my stuff." And so that was, Sheldon come from is like, "Yeah." Now you spoke about when you wrote this. Can you talk about that? And so I was like, "Oh, okay." Really? So, yeah, it felt like a thesis being dissected there. But
Another good interview to look forward to on the channel then.
yeah, next week. Yeah, yes, yes, yes. But anyway, we were just, yeah, we're just reminiscing and stuff today. It is Jodeci, Forever My
I'll
Lady.
tell you what, I'm looking forward to Sheldon's all-time favourite Jodeci track in at number 6. All-time favourite. It's not, and it's not a track; it's an interlude. It'll be an interlude. His all-time favourite Jodeci track in at number 6, and that's my prediction for tonight, viewers. So get
Yeah,
yourself settled in. Get yourself
Yeah.
a drink of beer or Coca-Cola. Get the
yeah.
popcorn in.
We'll, we'll see. As a matter of fact, the album, its anniversary was like 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Number one place to number
Number
four. Yeah,
one, back. You crazy? You crazy, back?
yeah.
What's up, everybody?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I mean, what? Before we go into the album, though, what did you guys make of? I mean, what was your first experience of the Jodeci album? I mean, I could tell you mine is that I was still in Nigeria. I think I was 91, and my good friend Kingsley he brought me the tape, but it was we were playing the side B, and I thought, oh, this is Guy, because it was a tape with the stuff recorded, but it wasn't the actual album. Nigeria, they've bootlegged a lot, so you couldn't tell who it was. So a lot of times, oh, this must be Guy's new album. And because we were just playing the side B, all the we share and play thing, that was what no one cared. No one really touched side A in Nigeria at the time because it was, Nigerian Africans, they like the up tempo, the whole stuff. So the slow jams on that album didn't really catch on. So I didn't realize it was them until I moved to America a year later to go to university, and all of a sudden, the slow side is what really drew my attention and stuff. But what about you guys? What was your experience or first experience with this album?
I knew somebody who had they had the 12-inch of Gotta Love, and he had some sort of promo, and he had it, and we played it, and then later on we saw the video of it. But the crazy thing, the earliest memory I have is I couldn't pronounce the name of the group. I was like, okay, so is it Jodeci or what? I didn't know. And then you couldn't pronounce the name, and then of course, then the song started rolling out. Man, I just remember the ballads and people just going crazy over the ballads. Man, it was just, and then the look. You saw the look that they had. Obviously, we talked about Guy for so long, and Guy had this slick, even when they was doing the kind of like, the street look, it was very slick. But when you saw what those guys were wearing, it was just like something totally different, man. I think that's when I think 90s R&B kind of like turned the corner to where what we would eventually see with hip hop R&B. But yeah, I just remember people just going crazy off of the singles, man.
What about you, Stevie?
I remember vividly the day that I bought the album because I was in the city centre with an old school friend of mine who's now, he lives in New Zealand. I still keep in contact with him via IG. We was in the city centre. We'd been round some of the famous shopping areas of Manchester, like Affleck's Palace, because he was into buying clothes at the time. I was into buying records, but we go to a record shop called Spinning. If anyone's tuned in from Manchester tonight or might see this, you'll probably remember Spinning Records. It's quite got legendary status, but it had moved. It's been in a few locations, but it moved then. And I didn't go to the original location. I went to the new one. So I remember buying the album on vinyl on a US import from Spinning Records. And I always say on this channel, after buying Guy's first album, the debut, I'm continuously looking for an album that gives me that high. It's like a drug, in it. You're looking for an album that is as good as that. And and this album, I gotta say, it matches. It comes very close. The whole thing for me is just like it matches that debut. It's just incredible. I just thought it was an incredible album. Like you say, the look. I love the fact that you have the ballads on side one, and then you have the up-tempo, the new Jack on side two. It was just a perfect album for me. So yeah, like were they called Jodeci? That was. But I just love having the vinyl with the yellow Uptown on it, and I wore my vinyl out and eventually got the CD. So yeah, great memories, great fond memories of the album.
And it was like the setup was perfect when they got down with Father MC, when they did the hook, they treat them like they want to be treated. And hearing them sing, I was like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
And it just was a great lead in to the album.
Yeah. I had bought the 12-inch of Gotta Love. I had, because there was always, I remember having debates with people saying Forever My Lady was the first single. I said, no, it wasn't. It was Gotta Love because I bought the 12-inch. And then Forever My Lady followed. So I had the 12-inch and I was, loved playing that record. And the album came out pretty shortly after. It didn't seem too long. But yeah, looking forward to that. Getting your, I mean, it's obviously this 12. If you got the original pressing had 12 tracks on. They later reissued it with Cherish on.
Yeah.
Track, which doesn't fit the album at all.
Yeah, no.
Track, but You know, if you put that in your top 10 guys tonight, Cherries, then shame on you.
No, but I think that when they did that, I mean, that was for a soundtrack.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that was a remake of a song. That's why when you hear it, it doesn't sound like everything else because it's a remake of a song that was made like 40 years ago.
Yeah, but he was just talking about just not fitting on the album. That's what
the
Steve.
track that was on the Strictly Business soundtrack that more fitted this album.
But that's what I'm saying. The one that they did that they added on, it just didn't fit because it just was a remake of a record, you know, something 40 years ago. You know, it didn't fall in line with the rest of the productions, you know. But yeah.
Yeah, and Mark has a question. Well, he was because it seemed quite unusual to have, I don't know, for me, to have one side up tempo, one side ballads. Because if you look at subsequent, okay, maybe not, because I know a lot of other albums, it felt as if they'll have some up tempo, some ballads in it.
Think about it. You got to go back to, if you listen to Babyface's Tender Love album.
Okay, that's what Mac was saying. Yeah, he says, is that the first one?
And O'Neill's albums, it's always been the fast side, slow side, and of course the Ozzy Brothers albums. It was always the slow songs, and then it was the up tempos. You know,
yeah, okay.
And I think that was a conscious effort. It was front loaded like that, and that was the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah, it was a good spin and stuff. Just real quickly before we start, Stevie, when we interviewed Keith Anders, he mentioned that they were supposed to have Casey and JoJo singing on the John B album, but they weren't sober enough to make the final part of it.
He's got a track stored away with their vocals on.
With their vocals. The thing is, when I spoke to John B, he says one of the proudest things that he had Casey and JoJo on the album. So I don't know if no one told him that they weren't on it. So,
don't tell him. Don't tune into that. Don't tell him.
Okay, so you guys are starting to you guys are starting to put down your tracks and stuff.
Well, the great thing is, like you said, there's 12 tracks on it, so I've only left 2 tracks off.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 so we've all got 2 honourable mentions tonight then.
Yes. Okay. Baby Girl 91, welcome. Dr. Paul, welcome. Hey, our balladeer Colin Mills, welcome. Let me see who else has just come in. Joseph Perry, I've just mentioned you. Okay, so
it'd be interesting to see which track you 2 had left off.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously the obvious thing to leave off.
Roberts, welcome.
The obvious out of the 2 to leave off is the interlude. So what is the other track that you've left off? Which we'll find out. Like you say, get your popcorn ready.
Get your popcorn ready. Okay. So, I mean, who wants to start?
I started last time, didn't I? So it's either you or Sheldon.
Yeah, I can. I think it's me to start, and then Sheldon, and then Stevie. So I started at number 10 with, I think, the song at the time I did think was Guy, and I thought, oh, this is really a new Guy ballad. But at the end of the day, it was the song that launched them. You know, when you think about Jodeci now, and you think about them just walking around and just letting their vocals shine, the fact that they had to start to do the whole high five type of dance moves and everything just seems really weird now. If you go back into time, you're like, what are you guys doing? So it's Gotta Love. You know, it felt like, okay, this was. It felt like they tried to imitate Guy, and I think when you listen to Eddie F, he was saying that some of the up tempos he was supposed to handle the production alongside Devante, and maybe that's why it didn't really hit. So, Gotta Love was my number 10 because there were better ones on that. Yeah, so that was my honorable mention for Plaything. Okay, Sheldon, what about your number 10?
My number 10 is It's All Right. That's my number 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Tell me that you need me. Tell me that you want me. It's all right. Okay. But okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Get the yellow card out already. Get a yellow card out already.
I should have these.
Dear me. Number 10. It's got it there. Even Nnamdi agrees with it. Get it out.
What about you?
You know what? I made a mistake. I made a mistake.
Okay.
Plaything is my number 10. Plaything was number 10.
Okay.
I made a mistake. Sorry about that.
Okay. He's been corrected. Savio said to agree with me. He's backtracked. So it's Plaything. Yeah, I think that was okay. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. Okay. What about you, Stevie? What's your number 10?
It's Treat You. Like the vote, it was like the vocal version of Father MC.
Father MC sub.
Treated.
Yeah.
I like the there's a really funky drum loop at the beginning which can be looped up. Because I think a few years ago I did a re-edit of it with a friend. We made it longer, the track. It's only a short track, and we kind of looped that up a bit to extend it a bit. But yeah, that's my note. Yeah, like you say, it's like a vocal with no rapping at a Father MC's Treat You Like You Want to Be Treated. Good up tempo, new Jack track.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, that was a good one. Sheldon, they tell you to stand your ground, but
No, I down twice. So.
Okay, you put it down twice. Okay, welcome Leon and stuff on Marco. Okay, so you got so my number 9 is actually Treat You. Treat You Like They Want. And I was surprised. I looked at the credits and Devante gets the producer and songwriter, and I'm thinking, I thought Father and Colin and Courtney Rooney would say, "Hey, wait a minute! You just sampled our track. What do you mean trying to?" Because it was the hook of their track that they really expanded and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a good one. I don't think the vocals were as good as the one they did on Father, because I think that was just so left field when they came out. It was like, everybody just said, "Who are these guys?" And I think it's strange. When we think of harmonies in a vocal group, everyone's always goes straight to Boys to Men. But Jodeci had some real tight harmonies, especially with with Casey and Jojo leading. But and this is one thing Dalvin said, is that they had a real special harmony when all 4 of them were part of that and blended in. So yeah, so Treat You was
like a filler. Did feel like a filler track.
Treat You, it's almost like, we need an extra track, so let's redo that. Let's redo that. Yeah. What about yourself, Sheldon?
My number 9 is You and I.
What? Get the red card out now, Dick. Get the red card out, please. Get him off the show, please. It's a terrible start for Sheldon.
You and I.
Shocking start.
No. You and I.
If I get one of the viewers in.
Oh gosh. Wow. Good. Sheldon Crimson red card.
Fun, you got me, but yeah.
I feel you not made him another mistake here, Sheldon. Just top 10, please.
You and I is, it was cool, but out of all the ballots, it was kind of the weakest one for me, No. But You and I was cool, but that's my number 9.
Well, I get a second to imagine. Okay. You and I is my top 5, yeah. Oh goodness, yeah. You got people who don't even comment coming on.
That's right.
Maya Nelson, like this first time I've seen Mayor Nelson comment, but they have to say what? Okay.
I'm telling you, folks, his all-time favorite. I'm telling you, I predict his all-time favorite Jodeci track is that interlude coming up, folks.
It's coming up. What makes your number 9, Stevie?
Gotta love the first single.
Okay. So it's strange that both you and I had 9 and 10 sort of interchanged. That kind of like, yeah.
Spent a lot of money on those remixes though, because there was a 12-inch issued with like 6 mixes, and then there were 2 separate CD singles which are worth a fortune.
Wow. Oh.
Different remixes on each. Like it didn't take.
No, it didn't, and I wonder why. I mean, Sheldon, were you in the States when they came out?
Maybe they're all dressed as firemen in the video, weren't they? In fireman outfits.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's funny that you said that, because I thought, They had the fire outfits on. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're wondering why Gotta Love didn't really take off.
You know what? I think. Well, think about it. Is that Gotta Love? I just think that they were doing the whole New Jack Swing thing. When I was doing the research records, Gotta Love came out, and it stuck around for a while because it was like 3 or 4 months before they released the next single, the single that we all know that we thought it was the first one. So, it just didn't really catch on. I mean, it was out there, obviously, but then once they went into the ballad zone, it just didn't look back. But that song was out for like about 3 months before they released the second single.
Yeah, maybe they were trying different things.
I worked that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So down to number 8. Now, okay. So for me, as I said, I had some up tempos who ranked high, but I think of all the ballads of the album, this was the one that I didn't feel as much, and it's "I'm Still Waiting." It was good. But I thought, oh, look at Sheldon. You put you and I at number 9. He's looking at me for putting "I'm Still Waiting" at number 8.
Waiting for you to figure out why you put that as number 8.
Look, they had the ballads were strong, but of all the ballads, this was probably my least favorite, and I had the up tempos that actually I really gravitate to more than this particular track. I mean, it's still in my top 10, but. I'm still waiting. Time to drink. Yeah,
I'm still waiting for you to justify why you put that in.
Yeah, no, because there were bigger ones. There were bigger ones on the track. Because you think we're talking about, there were pretty much 12 songs on the album. We've left 2 out, which one was an interlude, and then you had one other one. So then all of a sudden you're looking at 10 strong tracks, and you're really pushing about your favorites. So that's why you and I'm Still Waiting was my number 8 out of the album. So if, for those who are just joining us, we're doing our top 10 favorite songs on the Forever My Lady album. So as I said, you can imagine the big ones are in front. Yes. What about you, Sheldon? What's your number 8?
My number 8 is No, I'm just.
I'm sure you're not joking. You probably testing the waters before.
My number 8 is Gotta Love.
Okay.
Love. But here's the funny thing with Gotta Love is that I was doing some research, and Gotta Love was released in February 91. So the second single didn't come out until August 91. So they were trying to work this record, man. It was out for a while. Man.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think maybe that's why people think they have to do the whole rebranding stuff.
But here's the deal. The album comes out in May 1991. So Gotta Love was just like the lead single, before the album dropped. So it wasn't like Gotta Love came out when the album dropped. So, that's probably another reason too. So, yeah.
These guys always taking it personal here. Damn you, bro. Oh goodness, yeah. It's wow, goodness, no. Same for me. I'm Still Waiting. The best. What? It's the best Jodeci song ever. Wow, goodness, I didn't. Yeah, that's okay. Maybe I've yeah. Okay, Stevie. Maybe you can bail me out. What's your number 8?
I feel like I've got past the couple of album fillers. Even though Gotta Love was a single, I do really like it. So it gets very from 8 onwards. Oh gosh, I mean, I'll be honest. I'm Still Waiting was at the back end, and I re-listened to it, and again I thought, no way, no. I was like, Jesus, can't be. It's got to be moved further up. So. Gosh, this gets tough from now on. Number 8 is Times We Share. Wow. Number 8, and there's the album mix of that, and I think they also did a live performance. It might be, it's on YouTube somewhere, and there's a different mix of it, and nobody can seem to get hold of this mix that they did on this What was that show host, the big show host that everybody had on at the time?
Senior Hall?
It might have been something like that, a performance where they're different, but that could have been a single, you know. That could have been, you know, it's
Which
a great
one?
tempo record that I thought.
Which one?
Times We Share, number 8.
Yeah, definitely. David said in living color.
In Living Colour, that was it. But,
Okay.
you know, great record. Great record.
Time Machine, a living color version. I'll have to look that up then. Okay. Yeah, no, okay.
Very difficult. From 8 onwards, this is so difficult now.
Yeah. So my number 7, it's all right. Really love the track. And as I said, I was a massive fan of for those of you, for those of you just joining, what I was saying earlier is that actually the B side was the one that I really listened to and rocked and enjoyed. So I was really more into the New Jack side of it before I gradually got into the R&B side, the ballads. But it's all right, yeah. And I loved how the harmonies and KC singing up tempo. And I should have asked Mr. Dalvin it's why they didn't continue doing some up tempos on their subsequent albums, because they show that they actually could do it. So It's All Right was my number 7. Sheldon.
7 is It's All Right. That's my number 7.
Okay.
Wow.
You know, the same situation. I love the harmonies, love the singing. And I think that one was pretty much my favorite out of all of the up tempos that really stand out for me. Now, there were some other ones that was pretty cool, but that one kind of really stands out. There's some other ones I ranked a little bit higher, but It's All Right was cool. I loved it.
Okay. Yes. What about you, Stevie? What's your number 7?
Maybe a shocker for a lot of you out there. But I'm going with a very big ballad of Stay. That was a single, wasn't it? That's my number 7.
Wow.
The same, very difficult from now on.
Wow, Stay.
Man,
Number somehow found its way at number 7. Great track.
what you do, man? You must have.
Baby, won't you just stay? That doesn't get your top 5.
Oh,
Wow.
it's a great track. Like I say, it's so different. I love every track from now on. It ain't that a one. We could all be number 1.
You ain't love him that much if you're gonna rate.
Maybe want to stay. Just yeah, probably out the 5 ballads. That's probably starts off the first ballad pick of the time.
Well, Stay's a classic. Yeah, but
It's a classic as long as it stays in number 7. That's what it is.
Yeah.
No, but I'm with TV. So Nicolette is saying that, but it is hard because you are saying the album is so good that some songs don't make it and stuff, and sometimes actually not the hits.
I'm conflicted between like the 19, 20-year-old me of all the tracks that I played most at the time to the age that I'm at now, and the tracks that have grown on me, have stayed with me. It has changed.
Yeah.
And the chart is conflicting. It's like, have I compiled this with the 19-year-old in me, the 20-year-old, or am I compiling it now? It's like it's a bit of a mix of both.
Yeah.
So probably Stay. I don't know. Gotta Love. If Gotta Love may have been further up if I was compiling it with my 19-year-old, because I was playing that 12-inch a lot. So it's a bit of mix and match going on tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if I was compiling this when the album came out, my top 5 would all be the side B, and then I would have just done the ballads.
Different. These tracks on this album that I didn't play as much back then that I play all the time now, that have become my favorites. So
yeah, okay. So for me, number 6 is Times We Share. Oh goodness, I just love the. I wish it could go higher. I mean, but it was just beautiful stuff, and I was surprised because Eddie said, he was supposed to, it didn't hit as strong as it could have been, and I'm thinking, wow, I wonder how much more they could have really done. I mean, I can, but because I love their harmonies, loved how the Casey was singing. Time to Share was a beautiful song. And I wish they had gone brave to release some of the New Jack tracks, but I think when they got that lane, they weren't going to go back. But we still had a beautiful album. And we'll talk at the end where this ranks as does it rank in the top 5 New Jack Swing albums? Does it get a mention? Sheldon, what's your number 6? So Times We Share was my number 6.
Treat You is my number 6.
Wow, that went that high.
Yeah.
Wow, the album filler.
it was like we need another song. Okay, let's try and remake the song we did with Father of Sin. Just wow, so Treat You is much bigger for him than you and I.
Yes, sir. You and I, cool, but I had to go back and listen to the album, man. First, I had ranked you and I ranked higher, but I went back and listened to the record, and I just said, because it's a no-brainer. If we were doing top 5, maybe the top, the ballads would be right there. But I wanted to kind of mix it up.
Okay.
It was mine,
Okay. Yeah, look, I'm looking at everyone else. So yeah, people make. I think when you get into the top 5, top 6, number 6, it is tough. So yeah, people mix around and stuff. Steve, what's your number 6?
It was a track that had a great interlude before it dropped. We had that 1:40 interlude. They're in a phone box and he's talking to some girl on the phone, and then the track drops. It's about 6 minutes long. It's called My Phone.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, what a track that was!
That's number 6.
Didn't
drink anymore. Okay.
It's number 6.
Wow.
Oh, brilliant track. Absolutely amazing track.
People talking about me. Doesn't this get a red card?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but that was definitely, and that's actually probably one of their most popular songs that I know. My Phone. It was that was the biggest one in Nigeria. That My Phone, massive song, massive track, and I'm like, wow, these guys took the new. As I said, I thought it was Guy's 3rd album because, as I said, I didn't get I just got the music and stuff. So okay, so now we're down to the top 5, and you got to understand, guys. We're talking about 12 songs, so 2 have missed out. So to the top 5, and yeah. We're not going to clone Cherish, although Sheldon might put it in his number 1. We don't know. But so Stay is my number 5 song. And it was a beautiful song, but in my top when I come to my top 5, that was that was a nice ballad and stuff. And I think one of the things I liked about what they do is that the songs on the album were like on average 5 minutes or so, very long songs. But it seems there were simple songs to sing along to, and it was very it felt like they're talking, so you could follow what they're singing. You can understand what they're saying. So Stay was I loved Stay, not as much as the others, but Stay is my number 5.
Sheldon. I wish they'd done more mixes of that. I wish they'd, because all you got on the 12-inch was like, what's it, a bass mix and a thing mix. There was no actual reconstructed remix, which is a bit of a shame, I thought. But it was nice. I like the instrumental, and it's a nice. It was a nice package, that 12-inch, but could have given us a proper remix.
Okay. No, I didn't get any of the 12 or inches, the mixes. So I couldn't remember. But Sheldon, what's your number 5?
Times We Share.
Yeah. Times.
Okay.
My number 5.
What did you like about it?
I like the hook. I also like the singing. It's just, it just kind of like stood out, man. Again, I rated it higher. Out of all the up tempos, I rated that one the highest. Okay. With it's kind of unique with those guys, man. It's just like the arrangements of the records. Everything's kind of like in the same, it kind of similar. So certain things stand out. Mm-hmm. Like how they harmonize. I think that's what really makes those songs unique is the vocal arrangement. You know, harmonize. And I think that's what really stood out for me.
Yeah, and as I was saying, people always go straight to Boys to Men when we talk about vocals, but you know, Jodeci really should be commended for their vocals. Stevie, what's your number 5?
Number 5 again is the track that I think was originally 8 or 7, and I bumped it up to number 5. Great album mix. There was a jazz mix on the 12, and then there was a 12-inch promotional which had some Jeep mixes, hip hop Jeep mixes, and they did a completely separate video with that remix on it. It just blew me away, and it took me years to get hold of that promotional 12. It took me years, about 10 years after maybe. I just couldn't find it at the time. But number 5 is I'm Still Waiting.
Okay.
You know, it's as an album mix, it's grown. You know, it's one that is as I've matured. You know, it's grown with me. You know, it's very melodic. It just hit me hard, that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize they had 2 different videos for it. I need to
2 completely different. You know, there's the album mix, and then check out the remix, the hip hop Jeep mix. It's completely different, but it's a great remix.
Okay. Well, so we're down to it looks like we're rushing fast, but going for my number 4. You know, it's strange because a lot of people have said how much they really appreciated, loved this particular track, and at the time it grew. This one grew on me as well, and that's You and I. But as I said, it was just a simple lyrics, and it's strange how Jodeci sort of turned from the types of love songs and feel good songs they were singing in the first album, and they go to Diary of the Madman and just go crazy. As it's lyrically, they just switch and change. And to think that they came from Casey and JoJo, the Cedric, the Haley brothers and stuff like that, little Cedric, you know, gospel singers, and they just go straight into this raunchy sort of stuff. That's what happens when they give you to Puff Daddy to do your A&R, you know. But yeah, You and I, beautiful ballad, beautiful track was my number 4. Yeah, Sheldon.
Okay,
and you know, Market has put out that there's a lot of influence by Albie Shaw and some of those in the ballads, and actually in some of the other tracks as well. So sorry, Sheldon.
That's okay. Number 4 for me is Stay. That's my number 4, Stay. You know, big record. I think that just, you know, the harmonies, and once again, like you said, I think he goes back to Albie Shaw in terms of the songs are conversational, like they're written like there's a conversation going on. I think that's what makes those records so classic and so long lasting. Is if you're not singing it, you can just say the words, "I'm sorry I left you," and you know, everything going on, you know, just conversational, you know. And I think that they resonated with people. So of course the record had a lot of lushness going on. The ballads had, you know, the production. It was, you can just really get lost in those records, man, you know, on the ballads, you know. So yeah.
So what about you, Stevie?
Did any of you guys pick up any of the singles at the time? Did you buy any, or just the album?
I just bought the album. I didn't buy the singles.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I'm buying singles if Teddy Riley did a remix, then yes, I'll get a Teddy Riley remix.
I mentioned that because my number 4 was a single, and it had a big puffy remix. I thought you might have went out and bought it because it was, you know, it did extend on the original mix. But I actually prefer the straight album mix. I did enjoy the remix, but I still prefer the original album mix. And you know, it's up there. We say Tevin Campbell, Can We Talk? So it's number 4's Come and Talk to Me. That is, you know, I suppose it is an R&B, a 90s R&B classic. That you can't argue with it, really.
And he was only hit number 4. Wow.
Well, it's like, you know, it's right up there, isn't it? It's in my top 5. You know,
Wow.
I bought the 12-inch, I bought the CD single for that long puffy mix, and then there was some horny mix on it. Someone in the comments said there was a horny mix, weren't there? Somewhere. So I didn't think I bothered with that mix. Though. It's embarrassing that one to listen
Bother with it.
Yeah.
He didn't bother with it.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Dalvin says that their parents haven't listened. His mom especially hasn't listened to any of their albums or songs because the gospel singers and they just didn't like the direction they took. Okay, yeah, that's okay. So we're down to our top three, and yeah, so I think this might be for others it might be more controversial, but I think if you've heard me talk about sort of how I got introduced to the album, I got introduced to the album by the up tempos, and of all of them, this to me was by far their strongest, and the one that I always remember, the harmonies, and as I said, it was something that something that I think I love what they did compared to stuff I was hearing on future album, and that's my phone. My phone doesn't ring anymore. Just the loneliness is driving me crazy. Yeah, I just my phone. Yeah, that's goodness. As I said, we'll after this we'll look and talk about.
I'm impressed. You've got that number 4 actually. Now I'm impressed.
No, number 3. You and I was number 4.
I'm even more impressed that you've gone for that.
It was actually in the top 2, but I had to really do some soul searching. I had to keep listening to the whole album again to say, yeah, this one just edges slowly. But it was, as I just loved that particular track, and I was like, everyone that listens might know that I'm definitely Basic Black is my favorite New Jack Swing album, but this, if I had to do my top 10 New Jack tracks, that will definitely be my top 10. And people will be shocked that it's a Jodeci track because all of us who know Jodeci now will not associate them with doing a great New Jack Swing album. So yeah, my phone, number 3.
Wow.
Colin says aspiration. And I think I wish most guys, because most people just listen to the ballads and then they switch off. Try and listen to the up tempos, and especially my phone. And you think, wow, this is Jodeci. Yeah. Sheldon, what's your number 3?
Forever My Lady. Forever My Lady. Yeah.
I thought we were going to have one of those times when we just all do a kumbaya moment that says, yeah, well, all of us, we're number 1 and we just all chat.
That's too predictable, man. But yeah, great, and the classic lyric is, so you having my baby. I love that, man. It's just conversational. So yeah, but it's number 3. Number 3.
I better not see Cherish in your top 3, top 2. Because
Oh, yeah.
He's driving. Oh, goodness.
It might be.
Oh dear.
Might be.
Oh, goodness. It's Stevie, the Redeemers, which is number 3.
I have to say I agree with Sheldon. Number 3 is Forever My Lady. There you go. Yeah. I guess the laugh's on you. I guess the joke's on you, Nnamdi.
What? I
Yeah,
can't imagine.
Forever My Lady, again, the remixes. There was 2 separate promotional copies of the remixes, and the one with the 4 mixes on, the 4 different mixes is just so expensive, man. It's just so it's hard to get hold of. It is, but the great. They're like 8-minute long mixes. 8-minute long mixes of them. Crazy mixes. And so hard to get hold of. But yeah, number 3. It's killed you tonight, this chart.
My goodness, I don't know which version of the album you guys were listening to.
That 3, though, that is, it is a number 1. It's a 1, 2, or 3 track in anyone's chart. It's in your top 3. Has to be in your top 3. That.
Okay.
And look at the views. If you've not got that in your top 3, then I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Top 3 track.
Well, I think by the rate we're going, we may have to get some of the viewers on to talk about their tracks because of how quickly we're going through this stuff.
Well,
So
you know, we can have an hour podcast tonight. We normally do like 2.5 hours. And now, you know.
But okay. So my number 2 is "Come and Talk to Me." You know, as you know, it is another one of those types of felt like a poem, and I think one of the things that we forget about Devante is just how good of a songwriter he is, how he kept it simple on this album, and because they were so self-contained as a group that they could write and produce their own stuff, that made it easy for them just to create stuff. But Dalvin says that he was writing songs when he was, I think he said he wrote this when he was around 16, and some of these songs on the second album was written back when they were 16 or so. So you can see he was just a prodigy and a genius. But these types of simple lyrics and the way Casey would just deliver them, to me, that was just one of the powers of what Joe Devante is. I know not all of us recognize Devante as a good producer. Sheldon, I remember he just creeped into your top 10. Like, yeah, I'll just.
He did his thing, man. But I mean, if we're going strictly off the Jodeci catalog, obviously, you got to give it to him. But outside of that, I knew it would probably kill me because of that. And obviously, I'm not in the studio when he's making the records, but I just feel that the Jodeci albums, he really, that was his lane, So, yeah.
Okay. So, what's your number 2 then, Sheldon?
Come and Talk to Me.
Okay.
Number 2. Again, conversationalist tone. It's just that when you listen to those in the ballads, because the up tempos were cool. Obviously, the beats. The tracks were the things that really sold those up tempos, man. But the ballads had a lot of depth, and again, he's writing the songs, and they're very vulnerable. And if you listen to the ballads of all the ballads on it, listen to the first line of every ballad, and it just sets the song up, man. It's like having a conversation with your lady, and I love it. And he's vulnerable, very simple, but he's very vulnerable. Come and talk to me. I really want to meet you, really want to know your name. And it's kind of like by the time you get to the mid 90s, late 90s, going into, I say the early 2000s, you start seeing the lyricism start to kind of take a dive, where the lyrics are kind of like the afterthought. It's more about the beat, the track. I think you see more the rap influence where the lyrics is just people are freestyling the lyrics. Even now, people talk about, I didn't write the song. I just went in the studio and I freestyled it. But you can tell he put a lot of thought in the lyrics, and they were very vulnerable, very romantic. And they really matched the music, the musical arrangements, the production. So Come and Talk to Me. And of course, we all know the infamous remix that I remember that they sampled the EP&D, You're a Customer. And people were losing their minds in the club. When that would come on, they would just lose their mind. So, yeah, but Come and Talk to Me. Yep, number 2.
Okay. Wow. Stevie, what's your number 2?
This is where it gets really difficult, because my last 2 Jodeci choices are my all-time favorite Jodeci tracks out of everything they've ever done. So I had to make one of the choices was the middle-aged man in me choice. And the other choice, I've just realised I weren't 19, 20 when I bought this album. I was 17 years of age. So that means I was in college. I had £20 a week to spend, £20. So I'm thinking which is number 2 and which is number 1. So My number 2, I've gone for my middle-aged man choice. It's an album. It's a track that I didn't play as much at the time, but now when I play it, I have to stop myself from breaking down.
Wow.
I have to stop myself, and I'm thinking, why does this track affect me? How personal can I go on this podcast tonight? I don't know if I want to go there, because I just don't know if I want to go there. But it's just, it nearly leads me to tears. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that I've enjoyed the single life so much that when I listen to this track, it's the ultimate romantic love track, you know. And I think maybe because I haven't got that, maybe that's why I react to it the way I do. But number 2 is You and I. It could be number 1.
Wow.
But literally after the end, the last 20 seconds when I'm dying.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
I could be coming home from work and I need to listen to a Jodeci track on the bus, put my headphones on, and I've got that track in, and I'm playing it, and I'm like, just destroys me every time. And it, you know, I'm like, should it be number 1? Should it be number 2? But that is my all-time favorite Jodeci track, bar the other one. So you've got the middle-aged one. So now you know that my number 1 is going to be my 17-year-old head on, which we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, so Stevie is the king of build-ups. You know, I thought I could even tell what he was going to pick. He kind of like, I thought, so Stevie, so yeah, you have the crown as the king of the build-up.
To add on a bit of time. It's going to Fergie time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Those of you not aware of a football analogy, that's Alex Ferguson, who used to be Man United's manager. Used to, when it'd be 1-1 after 90 minutes, he'd be looking at the referee going, add 10 minutes on, ref, 10 minutes. 10 more minutes here for another goal. We call it Fergie time.
Yeah.
I'll try and add on a bit of Fergie time here, guys, because we're only 52 minutes in and we're nearly finished.
Yeah. No, it's, you know, and I think, as I said, oh, hey, John. Our friend John from Troop is in the house. Hey, John. I wonder, because did their image, because we're talking about some amazing ballads, you know, Come and Talk to Me and Stay and You and I, I'm Still Waiting. Definitely some real compassionate, you know, thoughts into these ballads, but I don't think their image translated those ballads the same way. Say if Jodeci, Boys to Men sang these songs, they would have been number 1 for months and years, and they would have been lauded as great balladeers and great singers of ballads and love songs. But
I think it was intentional. It was intentional as far as their look, because I guess the look that they had, the look was probably more in the vein of R&B singers singers who were out, groups or whatever. But it was intentional for that look, and again, then they just kind of like grew into it. And then, of course, beyond the look, then there's the image, because you see them now, they got the machetes and the whole thing. And I think that, you know, people loved them, man. At that time, you know, rap was creeping in and people were looking at them. It was almost like people were looking, even though Boys to Men, people would like them, but Jodeci was edgy, man. It was like Boys and Men they were kind of looking at them like they were kind of corny, you know. And I've talked to people who were older than I was, who loved they loved the Jodeci records better than they loved the Boys and Men. I think it was more raw, the R&B. It was less polished, even though the productions were very lush with the programming and everything. And you got to give I'll Be Sure, you know, you got to shout them out for that. But I just think that the image that they had, it was coming along a time when rap was slowly starting to become really dominant. And if you look at it, the whole, whatever R&B groups used to look like prior to that, like within the New Jack Swing, it started to kind of change. You know, guys will look really, really slick, but you see these guys, you know, they got the look, they got the leather, they got the shirts open and the whole nine. But it kind of reduced when I say I don't mean it in a negative way, but it was like an R&B reduction. So all of the polish from a visual perspective that went away, and it was just more like, okay, this is who we are. But the ballads were the selling point, man. You know, we're not having a conversation about these guys today if it's not for the ballads. You know, and I just like you said, Nnamdi, is that how they were constructed. They just have staying power, man.
Sheldon, what do you think in terms of the first two albums? What would you say is their vocal peak? Was it this album or the album after? Because the vocals on this are incredible.
The first one,
it's incredible.
The first one sets the tone. And out of all of the albums, you know, I loved Diary Band, and I love some of those, like what's the one? Whatever You Want. Mm-hmm. That one is really great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
My favorite all time Jodeci record. I like JoJo's falsetto and the whole nine, you know. But yeah, that first one sets the tone. It's really rich, and the only thing it's a tragedy is because when they go on stage, when they first started going on stage, they couldn't replicate it. They couldn't replicate the sound on stage because it was basically two guys that were the power vocals, man. That's why when they first started doing, they were doing BET Awards and they got together. It's like a reunion. It was the actual tracks from the first album. They lip synced all 4 ballads, 5 ballads.
Wow.
But people did. I'm gonna send it to you. People still lost their minds because they loved seeing them together. They did not sing. The only song that they sang was the song. The song they had with B.O.B. The guy was rapping on the hook or whatever. Mm-hmm. But when they went into their catalog, they lip synced the whole thing. And then people didn't care. They just loved. It was like a cloud that just came over the whole auditorium. And those ballads were it. I think for a lot of people, the way Guy may have been a jump off point for a lot of people, I think Jodeci was a jump off point for a lot of people who might have been slightly younger, man.
You know? It is another question for you, Sheldon, which is not really, doesn't really relate to the vocals. What do you think of Devontae Swing as a producer? How do you rate him?
Okay, as a producer, I say he gave Jodeci their signature sound.
No, but how do you rate him? How you know? Do you rate him as a producer? Do you think he's overrated, Sheldon? I don't think he's overrated by any chance.
I'm gonna tell you something. And people probably, you know, and the people who were in that 90s era within the industry, they may not agree with me. But I think that in terms of he set the bar so high on those albums, I think that everything that he did after that, it wasn't on the same level. Doesn't mean he wasn't talented. Like if you look at everybody else who produced records, L.A. and Babyface, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, Teddy Riley, when they went off and they started working with other people, I mean, those songs were monumental. You got to look at when you look at what Teddy was doing, you talking about the records that he did with other people were almost in a way bigger than the Guy songs. You talking about My Prerogative and a few other records, Just Got Paid, and you got to realize, man, that for him to go.
Don't you feel he changed the sound? He changed the sound of R&B.
I think
one of the producers that changed the sound of R&B.
I'll give you that. No, I said what he did was he pivoted, because before then it was more about samples, production based. Even when you look at like the Guy album, the second album had a lot of samples on it. So it was like he kind of like pivoted to where it became more of the programming, more musical. Well, before that, everything was, I'm sampling some James Brown records, I'm sampling this, sampling that. And when you look at that whole Jodeci record, that album really didn't have any samples on it.
So, all right, pick one. Devontae Swing as a producer, underrated, highly rated, or overrated? Which one would you pick? If I'm putting you, I've got a Russian roulette gun to your head. Which one are you going to go for?
Okay, I would say I would not rate him high. When people give him credit for what he did, they're giving him credit for what he did on those Jodeci albums.
Well, come on, Sheldon. Underrated, highly rated, or overrated? Pick one. After what you've just told me there, I just said to you, he changed the sound of R&B.
He helped.
So if he's someone who changes the sound of R&B, what category can he come under then? Underrated, highly rated, or overrated?
No, here's my argument. If he pivoted it, but you also got to look at I'll Be Sure was in the mix with those ballads, man. If you remove those ballads on the albums, we're not having a conversation about him at all. So you got to look at I'll Be Sure's role in those ballads, because when you look at what it could have, he might have written those songs when he was 16, 17, or whatever that is. But when you look at those ballads, you hear I'll Be Sure's signature vibe that's on Night and Day and what he's doing later.
Yeah,
so
but on the second album, it was the second and third album. That was his new sound.
Oh.
Yeah, but
and all the other productions he did for other artists, that was his sound.
I'll tell you this. As when he got to the second, the after part, I really didn't care about. I didn't like that. Freaking You, I didn't like none of those records. So for me,
I thought on that album, the songs weren't strong, but the production was incredible.
The first two, what the thing about, I look at it in totality, the first two albums were really, really good. But I just say that, in turn, I won't say that. I won't say overrated. I know sometimes I'll say that people give him a lot of credit, but when you look at other producers, because remember, he's only doing. When you look at terms of
does he fall into the highly rated category now? Then from overrated to highly rated, is that where you put him in?
I'll say highly rated. For me, if I'm being objective, I'll say highly rated.
Check that out, Nnamdi. Check that out.
Yeah,
check that out, Nnamdi.
But I would see Sheldon. He may be like an R. Kelly who did his best work for himself, like in that sense, and probably. He did some good tracks for Changing Faces and Usher and Tupac and stuff, but didn't do a lot, so he probably he did most of his work with the Jodeci stuff, like R. Kelly. He did tracks for people, but not a lot of tracks.
Out of them three choices, Nnamdi, what do you put him in?
No, I would always say he's highly rated because
I would say he's underrated, vastly underrated.
No. I think most people will, most people within. I mean, most producers and people will always rate him because of they know he did everything on the Jodeci. It's not like
when we talk about 90s producers, it's Teddy Riley, it's Timbaland, it's Rodney Jerkins, it's L.A. and Babyface, it's Jam and Lewis.
I have
doesn't even get mentioned.
I have strong opinions about those lists, and I'm gonna keep it to myself because. I don't want to mess Nnamdi's situation up to try to get guests on here. But I'll just say this.
They do watch Stevie. They do watch. So yeah.
But I'll say this is that when you look in terms of his talent, the excitement that I'll give him this. He made people forget about Teddy Riley in a lot of ways. When he came out, it was Devontae. It was really all about him. No disrespect to Teddy, but when Devontae came out, he was like, he was it. He made people really forget about because remember, also, I think the ballads were like the saving grace because they stayed in that lane that they didn't do too many mid tempos and up tempos as singles. So I say he found his lane in terms of doing R&B ballads in the 90s. He's one of the best as far as doing R&B ballads. So I'll give him that. As far
I've just remembered something, I don't know if I may have mentioned this on another, but I met him. I did meet him once, and I had my photograph taken with him as well, and it didn't cost me £460, Nnamdi.
Where's the picture?
Like it would cost me to go and get my photograph taken with Janet Jackson when she comes on tour in September. £460. Viewers. Meet and greet, £460.
Because
I met Dante, it was free.
But you know what? I'll say this though, but he had a lot of other issues that kind of like derailed him. a lot of things that were going on or whatever. But I'm telling you, like Dave Yarden, he said Blackstreet was chasing that Jodeci sound. They went to the front of the line. I got to give him the credit. Jodeci hopped to the front of the line of R&B groups in 91 and 92 and going into 93. I say they jumped to the head of the line between 91 and 95. Even though Boys II Men, I think Boys II Men have the most durable songs. Obviously, we already know what those songs are, those ballads. But Jodeci, I think in the 90s, if you ask anyone, I think Jodeci is probably the number one 90s R&B group in that window. But you got to give it to him. I mean, he's not in my top 5. He's not in my top 10.
No, I thought he made your top 10 when we did. Did we do our top 10 producers? I think he was like number 9 or so.
No, he was number 20. He was number 20, weren't he? Or something. 18. He was apparently he's overrated, but that's
I'm gonna tell you this. There are other people. He's not in my top 5, and because there are other producers. But I'll say this: that run that they had between 91 and 95, they were at the head of the line. There was nobody. There was nobody out there that could really hang with him in terms of that, because he had that sound on lock. So if you look in terms, like Nnamdi said, the music that he produced for his group, I think that was when he was at his peak. But I think that it's a synergy because it's his music and then those guys' voices. So it's like a synergy. It's like when you listen to Aaron Hall, right? Aaron Hall is a great singer. Aaron, even though he's a great singer, he did great work. His best work was when he was working with Teddy. That's just they just complemented each other very well. But I see M365 saying I'm giving Al B. Sure too much credit, but I don't know, man. Al B. Sure, when you say help polish them, that means that he gave them what they needed to get over the top. It doesn't mean that Devontae didn't create something that was very unique, because again, that vibe that he had, you're paying attention to Guy, you're paying attention to Al B. Sure, all of these people, so you have the benefit of absorbing that and then creating your own thing. So I think that I give him that credit. Again, he's not really high on my list because when I look at producers, I'm looking at the breadth of their work. Besides, and a lot of producers that I like more than him, they weren't in groups; they just produced.
Yeah.
But I give him that. I give him the respect because those 4 albums, even though the first 2 are my favorite, you talking about he didn't cool off, man, until you start seeing Drew Hill and those guys come around. Blackstreet peaked in 96. That was it, man.
Yeah.
But even the last thing I got is that even when those guys broke up, people were begging for them to come back together. So that says a lot about them. That says a lot about the work that he put in. So I would say he's highly rated for R&B fans. He's highly rated, obviously, within the industry. But in terms of being like super, super great, for me, if people rate him like that, he's super, super great. There's other people that I feel are much greater and probably made more of an impact. But I got to give him what he did in that 4 or 5 year run.
I mean, we still have to.
Good question, Steve. Good one.
Yeah, we still have to wrap up our top 10.
We're doing this extended chat part now before we get to our number 1. But anyway, I do remember meeting Devontae. It was in the Dorchester Hotel in London, and I got to shout an NGS3 friend from back then called VJ. NGS3, some of you might know VJ. He set up a party at the time, an NGS3 party in London. It just so happened on that Saturday night, Jodeci were playing. We didn't go to the Jodeci gig, but he found out that they were staying at the Dorchester Hotel in London. I don't know how he found out, but we gets there, the 2 of us. I think we were the only fans waiting for him, and security coming out because he had a camera with him. Not allowed, not allowed. We wanted to try and have a chat with Jodeci. I wouldn't say it was an interview, but we semi-tried to do an interview, and I remember he had one of those bandanas on wrapped around his head. He had a fur coat on, and he had a cane. You know, VJ was chatting away to, and I'm just looking at him start. I didn't have a clue what to say to him. I'm like, Devontae, swing. Oh, great, you know, Devontae. And oh, by the way, I've got to say big thanks to VJ. Does anyone remember cassette singles? He very kindly sent me a Gerald Levert cassette single because it's got a remix on the B-side of Wanna Be Bad Tonight remix. So thank you very much, sir. That's very kind of you for sending me this amazing cassette single. Brings back very good memories of cassette singles back then. But yeah, that's my...
Where's the picture you took with Mr. Dalvin? With Devontae?
Say that again.
Where's the photo? Do you still have
I think he has them. He's probably still got them somewhere.
So you never got a copy?
No, I think he did say I'll send you one. But he's probably forgot now. But you know, like I say, he sent me that cassette. So he's probably got the photograph. In fact, I've got it in my cupboard somewhere. I've got a whole pack of photographs of. I think I met Teddy once and Blackstreet, and I've got them all there somewhere. I'll have to dig them out somewhere.
You know,
dig them out.
It's crazy, but I'll just say this, you know, and if you haven't read Timbaland's book, Timbaland did a memoir, and he talked about that time. I'm not going to go into it here, but it just really wasn't good, and I mean it was really bad, you know. So if you read it, you would be shocked. But I just think that, you know, if he kind of veered off for whatever reason, he kind of veered off. And I think that if he would have just been able to keep going, I mean, those 4 albums, he did what he did, but he would have been able to keep going and not just get off track. But think about it, man, is that you got the basement. You got all those guys in there. And then after you do your album, you know, the next thing you know, these guys take off, man. You know, Missy and Timbaland take off, and now that's the whole new thing. And then they keep going. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So your proteges mess around and they surpass you, you know, with a whole different style or whatever. But I just think that, you know, he did his thing.
Yeah. His thing. I mean, you know, I think most of us do not know what it's like, just fame and success. But also the fact that even though we thought Gene Griffin was bad, they didn't get their money from Uptown. And Dalvin says, we had all these fans, we had sold all these records, but we had no money. We had all the fame.
Well, the thing was with those guys, I mean, you did an interview. They were signed to a management company, man. And it was like
signed, I think they were signed to Uptown.
Right. But again, they were signed, but Mary J. Blige had the same contract. It was like a Tony Braxton situation. You're signed as a new group, but what happens is your success outpaces the contracts. So evidently, there was no renegotiation going on for them.
Yeah, that's until the Shugs. Until they went to Shugs.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people remember the Christopher Williams album on Uptown, which the track "Please, Wanna See You Tonight." That was Devontae, wasn't it? Production Devontae.
Well, all I see is one of my top 5 songs ever, and that was Devontae and Horace Brown.
Nice. You know, I just think that I mean, you know, he did his thing, man. Yeah. During that 4 or 5 year period or whatever. I mean, he put that music out.
The Al Green track with Jodeci singing on the backing vocals. Could this be the love? Could this be the love? Oh, that was a great record. What a record that was.
Yeah, no one's gonna knock Devontae. As I said, I think from Sheldon's point of view is there is a case about like an R. Kelly who we would always say, you know, amazing songwriter and producer, but he did most of his best work for himself. And so how does he stack up with somebody who could take that work, great work, and translate it to other artists? And both of them, Devontae and R. Kelly, didn't do enough of producing other people consistently. But then, like a Babyface, he was able to do that. Babyface was able to do his own music and produce consistently for other people. So that's why you almost see him much higher as well. But but as I said, Devontae did a lot of tracks, but not all of his tracks became hits that he did for other people as well. So I think I could see where Sheldon was coming from.
And not everything was great. You see what I'm saying? Because hits are kind of like subjective, obviously, because sometimes you got some records that are hits that people may not like. But I'll just say that he didn't. I think he just peaked, man, with what he was doing with his group, which is enough. And R. Kelly's, the R. Kelly analogy that you have, R. Kelly produced a lot of people, but one thing about him is that the people he produced, he gave them memorable records.
Yeah, Change Your Faces. Yeah, we did the Change Faces. Did
whatever. I just think that sometimes when people look at these people, they have so much success that with their work that they're doing, the whole entire body, when you start picking it apart, a lot of people don't necessarily agree. Because when you look at R. Kelly's music, R. Kelly is a producer. His productions are very simple. When you go back and listen to his records, the drum patterns are the same. But what it is that he has a lyrical conceptual twist that he puts on those records, but it's very simplistic, man. But sometimes simple works. But again, you got to give it to him. I'm telling you, man, Forever My Lady is probably maybe in the top 5, maybe top 3 of all 90s R&B records, man.
I think we can all agree. I think we can all agree on that.
But not in your top 3, so that's the strange one. So anyway, let us go to none of you put it in your top 3, so I don't believe any of you anymore.
What's not in my top?
We talk about Forever My Lady.
Forever My Lady was in my top 3. That was my number 3.
That was your number 3. Okay. Let us go through when we get before our number 1. We want to go for our top 10 again. So I'll start it off. So my number 10 was Gotta Love. Number 9 was Treat You. Number 8 was I'm Still Waiting, although a lot of people were almost fell out of their chairs when they saw that one. My number 7 was It's Alright. Tell me that you need me. Number 6, Times We Shared. Number 5 was Stay. Number 4, You and I. Number 3, My Phone. Number 2, Come and Talk to Me. And I can't believe that you guys did not have Forever My Lady as a number 1 song. Just the way it starts off, the way this starts off. So You're Having My Baby.
What's honorable mentions?
This Plaything and the interlude. That's about it. Yeah, I wasn't going to put Cherish. I didn't like Cherish. But you think about Forever, he's saying, so you're having my baby. It means so much to me. There's nothing so precious than to have a family. Is there anything I could do? It's like, he was speaking to somebody. I was like, whoa, you're listening to that. And it's like, you and I will never fall apart. Now our baby is born, happy. I was like, goodness. I remember hearing that and I was like, whoa, do they write songs like that? It's like, even Dalvin says, yes, we're young kids talking about having my baby. But when I moved, I moved to America in '92. I was there for 10 years, went to university, and the song, I could see people dropping out of university because they got somebody pregnant and they had to get a job because they couldn't go back to university. So the song really was like, wow, this is what was happening. So I'm and so when it's a timeless record, because it just seems like it was just like a dialogue in a film that you could relate to. So it's hard to, and it's a long track. It is hard for when I think about my favorite Jodeci. It's either, I think Cry for You is probably just edges it because
Yes.
The way the emotions in that track. But I would just put Forever My Lady as just like just up there. I think most people who do R&B would probably say, yeah, they raised the bar with that kind of track. So I know Albie Shaw was writing part of it from his perspective of being a new father with Kim, but then Devante probably filled it in and stuff. So yeah. But Kim Porter. But yeah, that's to me my favorite track on that album, Forever My Lady.
Wow. Great choice, Nnamdi. Great choice.
Okay. Sheldon, do your honorable mentions and your rundown, and then we
Okay, I don't have any honorable mentions, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give my rundown. Plaything number 10, 9 is You and I, 8 is Gotta Love. 7 is Just All Right. 6 is Treat You. 5 is Times We Share. 4 is Stay. 3 is Forever My Lady. 2 is Come Talk to Me. And number 1 is my curveball, and it's the interlude. No, I'm just joking. Just joking. My number 1, just to piggyback off of what Nnamdi said, is that when you listen to those lyrics and what they're saying, it's just like, and it's all just like you said. So you have it's just like the first lyric, it just catches you, and that's how this one was. It was like the first 4 bars. It's been so long since I touched the lady. I'm still waiting for you to come back to me. Now, will you forgive me for the wrong I've done? Let's try again and make it last so long. A relationship, man. I'm still waiting. The same feeling that you had.
Great track. It's a great track, Sheldon.
I'm still waiting. The same.
Totally understand.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I got to give those guys credit, because before they came, groups were like, it was more like this whole dancing choreography thing. Those guys didn't dance. I mean, Gotta Love, there was the choreography, but they just stood and sang, man. Stood there and they sang. People just loved it, man. I mean, when you talk about an album with strong songs, come on, man.
I'm surprised it didn't win the Grammy for Best R&B Album. I mean, that's why I don't bother about the Grammys.
Well, you got to look in terms of what you got to look, but you always got to look at who's competing at the time, man. And you got to realize too. I think we had this conversation before when I first started getting on the platform. Is that the music industry was still like an older situation, so younger groups were like, it was kind of still,
maybe Anita Baker, they had Natalie Cole, those type of artists.
Because I think
actually, Sheldon, was that track though? I know you say it's your favorite now.
Yeah.
But back then, was that your definite favorite track instantly back then? Or is it a track that's grown on you over the years, would you say?
The thing, I think for me, Stay was the one. Stay was the one I listened to the most. And the reason why, because they were novel to me, because nobody was singing like KC. So I used to love to imitate them when the song would come on, So Stay was the one that was it for me,
So in Nnamdi, it would have been probably My Phone. Would have been, say, when you first got the album first?
That
one you've playing the most.
Yeah, I was playing the up tempos. So My Phone was the best on of the up tempos. Yeah, and but then once I got the ballads, Forever My Lady was, it. What I think of a track by Shy, If I Ever Fall in Love Again, and how they strip back the music to really focus on the lyrics. And I would say that's I think groups started to up their game with Forever My Lady. It's like, oh man, we need to start writing some serious songs. Before I Let You Go, you just couldn't just play around. You needed to, but as you said, I think they got lazy afterwards because Jodeci kind of let it slipped a little bit. So yeah, but any honorable mentions?
Hold on, real quick, because I just done some research really quick. Because you're talking about as far as albums. Okay, so the record of the year obviously came to your favorite producer, David Foster, for Natalie Cole's Unforgettable. That was the album of the year. So on the R&B side, best R&B vocal performance, Lisa Fisher, her and Patti LaBelle won. And then best R&B vocal performance, Luther Vandross. Best R&B performance by a duo or group, Boyz II Men. And then Luther Vandross' best R&B song.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. And this is 92. Can't Say Goodbye to Yesterday. That was the thing. That's what got Boyz II Men to win that, man. So but you know what? It was always an issue during that time because people were comparing them like neck and neck, and again, they were looking at Boyz II Men like they were like just a pop group, the corny pop group, and Jodeci was the true R&B group. I mean, I'm gonna tell you something real quick. The dynamic changed overnight. I can remember in 1990, Color Me Bad had come out with Sex You Up. And then in 1991, the record was still rolling, and Boyz II Men had their record, Jodeci had their record, and somebody else had a record at the same time. It was like 3 or 4 of those groups that had big records that carried over. And the people they turned on Color Me Bad. And then by the time Jodeci rolled around, man, it was just, and I think that's why when you look at, I think you interviewed some people, Nnamdi, Boyz II Men turned down, the Jodeci juggernaut was so huge, Boyz II Men didn't want those Babyface records, man.
Yeah.
They didn't want the Babyface records because they were like pop, they were big records, great records, but the Jodeci aura was so huge, man, that they didn't want that. They wanted Jodeci situation.
It was Rift. I remember the group Rift, so they were in the Lean On Me. So Nietzsche was saying that they were offered, our friend David Foster wrote and produced a track for them, for their label.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a beautiful ballad, those kind of Celine Dion kind of stuff. And the label says, we want to make you like Boyz II Men and make you big. And the guy says, no, we want to be like Jodeci, because in the hood, that's where everyone wants to be like. And I'm thinking, but Boyz II Men are doing big, selling. Yeah, it's like, no, man, you needed you in the clubs. Everyone's listening to Jodeci, and they lost their deal. They got blacklisted because they turned it down. But it's a strange one, how the two coincide and stuff. But yeah, so what was your honorable mention?
I didn't have any.
Oh, you did? Okay, not cherish anything like that. Okay. Okay. So this was John Johnson, Troop. No one really talked about it, but when Troop came out, all the other groups really had to bring it. It is what it is. I know Troop had the package, but then unfortunately, Attitude. That's not Attitude. The Deeper album didn't got lost when it should have been their big breakthrough album and stuff. Yeah, labels just didn't handle it. Okay. Stevie, we're gonna go through your honorable mentions.
My honorable mention was definitely the interlude, 553 Nasty. I'm just thinking about the track. Plaything didn't make it in my
it didn't make mine. No,
I'm just thinking of like the I'll Be Sure album. It reminds me of Channel J for some. There's a track on that I'll Be Sure album, the second side, that very much reminds me of Plaything. I think it's Channel J actually.
Maybe the Channel J. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, number 10 I had Treat You. Number 9 was Gotta Love. Number 8 was Times We Share. Number 7 was Stay. 6 was My Phone. Number 5 was I'm Still Waiting. Number 4, Come and Talk to Me. Number 3, Forever My Lady. Number 2 was my middle-aged man choice, You and I. So I get to number 1, and it's my 17-year-old head on here, and I've got to appeal, because I know you're both going to be shocked, and some of you on here are going to be shocked, but I'm appealing directly to the hardcore New Jackers will understand this, because these two here, I've got a passing interest in New Jacks. They're not full hardcore New Jacks. They're passing in, they've got a good overview of all the, the main big stuff, but the real connoisseur hardcore New Jack tracks, New Jackers out there like me, and a lot of you who are tuned in tonight would have been blown away when you heard this track. Like, I'm blown away by the production of Devontae Swing on this. It fried your head when you first heard it. And I know a lot of the UK swing heads in the clubs were just mad about this record. But my number 1 is It's All Right. That was the track I played most at 17 when I was going back my needle. It's all right. I bought the Master Cuts double LP. And it was a louder pressing. That just boomed out the system. But that track, so the 17-year-old me has given It's All Right as my favourite Jodeci track on Forever My Lady. There you go, folks.
Tell me that you love me. It's all right.
Somebody
I'm going track.
Give him the yellow flag, the red flag.
No.
Yeah,
Hardcore New Jackers will back me up on that.
Oh my God. but Nnamdi, you said something that we felt they should have won the awards, but when 92 rolled around, obviously they always rank you, or you always get the awards from the previous year. I was doing the research, and they got the Billboard Award for top R&B album. They got the Billboard Music Award for top R&B song for Come and Talk to Me. They got the Billboard Music Award for top R&B artists. So they did their thing. So yeah. And then of course, Come and Talk to Me was the all-time top R&B record of 1992. So
but yeah, didn't win a Grammy or get nominated. So
no. Oh, what I'm saying, it was rated. I'm talking about Billboard rated the number.
Well, yeah, but he didn't get a Grammy or get nominated for a Grammy and stuff.
Well, that's Boys to Men. Boys to Men got that.
Yeah. I'm not knocking Boys to Men because we're going to do the Cooley High Harmony album because
I was going to say, when we're going to do that album.
Yeah, probably we'll do it next because it's because they were the competing. It was Jacqueline Hyde, it was Devil and Angel, so we might as well give them that because we no one should not. None of us are knocking Boys to Men. I guess it just feels unfair that both groups and Boys to Men also wanted to be. They were from the hood. I've heard them in interviews.
I love that album, Cooley High. It's one of my teenage favorite albums.
Yeah, but
but I think the thing with what got them, Cooley High Harmony, the song, like I said before, it's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. That's what did it. That's because the rest of those songs, they were okay. They was all. Okay. I mean, when I listened to them, they were all right.
We'll save it to next week.
No. It's not going too deep into it, but as song for song, when you look at that album and Jodeci's album, song for song is much stronger.
Well,
so I agree with you. I agree with you.
Okay.
Nnamdi, pull up David Yarding's top 10 because it just shows the contrast tonight in top 10s that we've all had.
Yeah, I mean,
again, it's different, but it's a good top 10. Look at number 1. He's got Times We Share. It's a great track. I mean, it's a great track. Student Stay at number 2. That's a solid top 10 from a different point of view.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that, really, can you?
Yeah. Dude, it was nice. Okay. Yeah, the thing is, okay, so I mean next week we're going to do the Cooley High Harmony and we will probably be surprised how much we actually love the album and actually it was also underrated.
I love the album. Not even
But I think there was this common misconception that Jodeci was so much better than the Boys to Men. I think when you remember when Woody from who started Drew Hill, he said he and Cisco had each album and they swapped and they were so influenced by both groups. It's just that it's just that Babyface's tracks took them to another level, and then we felt like we lost them. Who was it? So but anyway, we'll get to them. But just
I hope one day we can also do, because I know you guys are now you're more familiar with the Troop Deeper album. Can we do that one week? Because it's let's run down that 10-1. Because that is it needs more. I think the album needs more highlighting. It's a great album, needs more highlighting. So add that to the list, please.
Yeah, but guys,
a lot of ballads on it, great ballads, a lot of new jackers there and mid tempos. The Boys to Men's a similar thing for me because other tracks over the years have grown on me. Where I had my Stonewall tracks when I was 17, 18, but some of so again it'll be my top 10 of that will be a cross section of what I was big into back then and what I listen to a lot now, which has changed a lot. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to that one.
Yeah, but I mean, if we, definitely. I mean, if we were to, reflect on the Forever My Lady album, how does it rate as a New Jack Swing album? Because I know, for some of us, we're talking.
I'm going back to my top 10 New Jack Swing albums. The podcast we did on that last year. and it made number five in my top 10 albums. So number 4 was Basic Black. Number 3 was Bobby Brown, Don't Be Cruel. New Edition, Heartbreaks at number 2, and Guy number 1. So it's definitely a top 5 album of all New Jack Hat for me anyway.
Yeah.
It's definitely my top 10 is in there at number 5. Could be higher.
What about you, Sheldon? How would you rate it as the New Jack Swing album?
I would rate it, if we're just going strictly 90s. If we're going strictly if we're talking about just New Jack Swing period, I would rate it probably maybe number 5, because of course I got to look at the guy Keith Sweat, I'll Be Sure, Bobby Brown, New Edition. So it would be somewhere maybe 5 or 6. It would be it would be, and I think that if you're going strictly off of 90s, from the period from 1990 to 1999, if it's not number 1, I'm talking about as far as R&B albums in period. If it's not number 1, it's got to be either 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe 5. It's got to be top 5 in the 90s.
Yeah. Okay. Those Collins the top 10 slow jams from the New Jack Swing era. Yeah, it's it's a beautiful. As I said, it was an album that made a difference in the R&B. People took their time. They focused on the ballads, the whole look and everything. But it'll be interesting next week when we do Cooley High Harmony. Sheldon was Stevie says the Deep album. I know John Jones here. He may have his views. I think so. Are we saying that the last time we all agreed on our number 1 was
the only one is Troop?
Was Troop.
Spread My Wings.
Spread My Wings.
Unfortunately, Sheldon fell out. He fell offline then, which was a shame. We didn't get that moment together. That communal buddy moment.
I tried. Couldn't get back on. I was like,
because yes, well, yeah. Next time, I mean, yeah.
I'll tell you what, we're all agreed on tonight, though, that the interlude 5-5 Nasty was our honourable mention.
We definitely agreed on that.
I wonder why.
But we also agreed that that this was Jodeci debut album was really a solid album.
Yeah,
Devontae's as an amazing songwriter producer. I think when it comes to being a songwriter, he's underrated. When you think that he wrote 90% of Jodeci's album songs, I think he's underrated from that. I don't think people would think Devontae is a songwriter, but that's for another day.
When you look at and the last thing I'm gonna jump in on this is that as far as just pure R&B songs, I'm not talking about the hybrid between hip hop and R&B. I'm not talking about just freestyle lyrics, but in terms of just writing heartfelt songs that emotional, that kind of fall under that vein of what traditional R&B is, he did it. He did it. You got to realize, if he didn't write anything in those 5 songs, I challenge anybody to come up with 5. You know what? Let's just go ahead and you throw in Cry for You, My Heart Belongs to You. Throw those in. If he wrote those records, he got about 7 to 10 records. I challenge anybody to have, outside of L.A. and Babyface and Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, I challenge any songwriter to come up with 10 strong songs like that. It's not many who can do it. So, yeah.
Wow. So, guys, we as always, we always appreciate you guys joining in. It was a pleasure, actually, an honor that John from Truth was able to come on, was able to join us as well. John, you were supposed to let me know about the about your show you had with Christopher Williams, if that was still happening. I was supposed to help post it, but you didn't give me any of the details. but yes, as I said, was still a massive Troop fan. And Sheldon and I interviewed Joyce Irby yesterday. Spoke about my music. I love that from the Attitude album and the work that she and Dallas Austin did with Troop. But yes, that's coming out next week. So not this week coming, but the week after next. I just need to put it together. It was just because there's some interruptions throughout, so I need to edit it so that. But I'm just going to put it all out at once. But it's tough because she talks about being betrayed by Dallas Austin, that she's discovered being, and probably because she was a female, she got muscled out by men who did power moves and stuff like that. So it was tough to hear. But as I said, I'll just edit it, take out, because she had some minor disruptions. Once I put it out, it will just come out all at once as well. But anyway, so final reflections. I'll start with you, Sheldon.
This was a great episode. Just to take some time and just delve back into that the album. It was just a really, really dope album, and it just kind of it gave me a better appreciation for Devontae, because again, in that 90s space, writing the songs that he wrote, in addition to the songs that were on the future albums, they were great, man. That's like a greatest hits. Five records like that, those ballads, four ballads on that album.
It had 5.
Yeah, to have 5 like that to just really resonate, people would love to have a career like that, man. But great album. That's their centerpiece. That's their jewel.
Yeah, you and I. Yeah, it was 5. Yeah, so Stay, Come Talk to Me For My Lady, I'm Still Waiting, You and I. Yeah.
The only person I can line up like that is Keep Sweat's Make It Last Forever album.
That's a personal album for me, man. It's a very personal album for me. I think that's still that's
the bar. That's that era. But when you look at song ballads, come on, man.
Yeah, definitely. That's okay. Stevie, any your roundup?
Yeah, my final thoughts tonight. For to anyone's got anyone, I don't know, has anyone got if you've got an Instagram account? I just keep seeing 80s nostalgia stuff all the time on my IG feed at the moment. Is it just me?
Is it a white lady that would there's 3. There's one that would show some of the games and stuff you do.
Yeah.
There's a white lady who may be playing the songs at different times, and there was I've seen some of the
I was enjoying it at first, but then it started to make me a bit sad because I thought it's gone. But I've noticed as well in fashion at the moment, in guys' hair, because a lot of guys are rocking Mohicans at the moment, aren't they? The long.
The
mullet.
The mullet. They call the mullet.
Padded jackets on, big jeans. So there's a big 80s retro thing going on at the moment. So yeah, it's good, but it also sums up maybe that's happening because of where we are in the world at the moment, and there's a lot of turmoil in the world, and there's a lot of things going on that are stressing a lot of people out. So maybe that's why we're looking back to better days. We all went through it. A lot of the viewers tonight, we were lucky that we remember that decade, as well as the 90s, before internet, before mobile phones, and the days were long then, as you remember. There were long days.
Yeah.
But maybe better days. I don't know. But then you could argue on another podcast, it's the best time to be alive isn't right now. But that's for another one. But anyway, in terms of Forever My Lady, just great memories of that album. Being a teenager, go out and buying it, the friends that I had, playing that album to death, buying the singles, just great memories. And to sit here tonight and have an opportunity with you guys and all you viewers to just go through my top 10. Who'd have thought like 30 years on I'd be doing this and enjoying this moment together. So that's my final thoughts.
That's your
good night. Tune in week for Boys to Men. And have a great week.
Yeah, and so for me, guys, I think my reflection is there are a number of you guys who contributed today in the chats, because we're all seeing the chats that haven't contributed before. Maybe because some of them fell out of their chairs when Sheldon put you and I at number 10 or something like that, and my others might have been, yeah. But it was good to see you guys. Those who haven't really communicated much, we've got our sort of regulars, and Mac and Aki and Miss Savignon and Old School Flavor and Derek and Colin and everyone, but having a lot more of you guys today joining in and contributing. Jay Ward, I'm seeing your stuff there now, and others. Leon, we appreciate you guys, because as you comment, we're all able to see it and stuff, and it's part of the show. Because if it was just myself, Steve, and Sheldon talking, it wouldn't be as great. But having you guys as part of that helps us, feeds us as we're doing this. So we truly appreciate you guys joining us Sunday. And as I said, just Black Music Month is throughout the month of June. And so we're going to keep trying to celebrate these great albums, and hopefully continue going as long as we can. So I appreciate everyone, and we'll see you guys. Low Tone Capone, good to see you as well. We'll see you guys next week. Who knows, maybe sooner. And also John, hope you guys enjoyed his episode when he came on with us to talk about our top 10 troop. We're going to do the Deeper album in the near future as well. Just focus on that, and hopefully we'll get John to be part of the audience as well, part of our panel as well as we go through that album. Yes.
Last words tonight. Viewers, don't talk, just listen.
Okay. See you guys next week. But you may